I'm not particularly proud of this. When you go to make a twink, there are some things I didn't consider. At first I thought it would be a fun challenge to try to beat the game at level 10, and, you know, that was fun for a little while. But I did have the intention of invading people at level 10 in mind, and especially with my knowledge of the game being what it is, it wouldn't be too difficult to make something that was obscenely powerful at this level. So I went ahead and I did that. And I mostly did it out of curiosity, because I wasn't really sure what to expect. I had never really watched any videos about people doing twinking, and I had never really considered the implications of it, but I knew what to do and how it was done, so I went ahead and I did it. And this is the result. Really just an obscenely powerful, not at all defeatable by anything other than, like, another twink build. And it's nothing special, it's just like a basic-ass, quality, level 10 plus 5 build, and it wrecks everything. I mean, like, there's nothing to wreck, really, because the only people down here are, like, new players. So it's not like I'm actually having fights, per se. It's more like my kindness lets them live for a certain period of time, and then when I get bored, I kill them. And that's the unfortunate truth. The unfortunate truth awaiting anyone who puts in the work to make the twink is met with an incredibly repetitive experience. If in Dark Souls Remastered, it's not fair, it's not balanced. I should not have 99 humanity. I should not have half the things I do on this build. I don't even need, like, 10 humanity. This is too much. There's too much going on here. No new player, good or bad, should ever be expected to have to stand up to something like this. No one. And this is not even the most powerful it could have been. I could have made the Dark Bead Twink, and I could have one-shot everyone. But I didn't do that. I did try, but I screwed it up by picking up the Lightning Spear in Sen's Fortress. And that's a different build that I will show next in another video. I did not make the Dark Bead Twink, and I did not make the Dragon Twink, both of which would have been obscenely powerful in comparison to even this. And this is basic. This is an unupgraded Butcher's Knife I'm using right now, and it's still way too much damage. Especially with this guy's Vihander. Like, I understand that they made some attempt with the weapon level matchmaking in the remaster, but it's not nearly enough. The difference between, like, 6 levels of matchmaking is... it basically might as well not even be there. You can bypass it so easily. It's not like it even requires as much work as making, like, a Dark Souls 3 Twink does. And like I said, this isn't even, like, anything special. It's just, like, a couple of strength weapons with, like, 13 dex and 16 strength, and I just kind of run at them. And I don't really have to do anything. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try. If there's a gank squad, then maybe there's a bit of an issue, but, like, other than that, there's very rarely a problem. It doesn't really help that this area is also quite punishing to new players, being the opening area. So I was mostly invading out of curiosity after this point. Once I realized that I had basically nothing to fear except, like, rolling off a ledge maybe, I just kind of did whatever. And I did try to, like, give humanity away to some people and do, like, the nice invader thing that I guess people do every now and again. That was a good backstab. I couldn't because I hadn't farmed humanity enough to give away, so I just kind of stopped. And I just kind of put my energy into fooling around and fighting people and messing with them. Not in any, like, horribly malicious way. Like, I didn't use a lot of poison or anything. And I didn't even really, like, buff my weapons with the charcoal pine resin that I had. I just kind of messed around. And people usually ended up killing themselves. I had one twink invade me in particular, who had... I don't even remember what it was, but it was something that inflicted poison. And then they were just trying to grind me down. And I had, like, healing miracles or whatever. And I couldn't do enough damage to them. It was on a new character. I couldn't even do enough damage to them to matter. I'd get backstabs and I'd go for, like, chain backstabs, and, like, even that amount of damage wasn't enough to plow through 99 humanity. Though I suppose I must applaud them for not doing what I'm doing, which is literally just taking +5 weapons against new players. It's really funny because once you start invading 30 levels later, like 40 plus 10, like, that amount of damage can punch through 99 humanity like it's nothing. Like, it's not even there. This is assuming those people have a decent weapon and not, like, Drake's sword. This guy put up a decent fight. And you know what? That was unusual as far as all of these invasions went. Actually getting people to fight you is the hard part. Because they kind of give up and acknowledge that they're just gonna lose. Which, I mean, they do. I don't think I lost a single fight. And it's a fight in air quotes, because not a lot of these were really fair in any capacity. I was really just so fascinated by this idea of having an obscenely powerful character at 10 that I got really carried away, and I did a lot of invasions. Like I said, mostly out of curiosity, because there wasn't really any fight to be had. It was just me walking into people's worlds and them sort of passing out from fear. One of the things I had grown accustomed to in Dark Souls 3 was the dynamic spawn locations, where it would actually kind of sometimes spawn you near the person that you were invading. Whereas this one will spawn you in one location per invading zone, and you just kind of have to live with it. Needless to say, there were a fair few wild goose chases that I had to go on in order to actually locate the host. And a better invader would simply say no and black crystal out and try to find somebody else. But I'm not a good invader. I want to find them, so I take my time and I go on the hunt, as it is. And I use my host tracking skills and I locate them, despite it being a tremendous waste of time. Not only to me, but also the host. I probably should have unequipped my Estus flask to make this more like a boss fight. That would have been fair, to some extent. Needless to say, my curiosity and boredom only really led to more curiosity and boredom. Such is the cycle of creating Dark Souls characters. You've got what appears to be a great idea, or at least an idea, and then you go through the steps of making it for several hours, and then you kill people with it. And then you kill a couple people with it, and you go, wow, that was not as great as I was expecting. And then it's done. And you add one more character to your collection of your trophies that you may pick up and play with like action figures at a later time. I think I have to admit that at least part of this was me taking out rage on unsuspecting players as a result of not having Demon's Souls, and watching other people be able to play Demon's Souls. And as a result, I created this monstrosity. Now, when I can get my hands on a PS5, I will probably be making a low-level Invader in Demon Souls to take advantage of how many areas there are you can invade at that level. But I don't intend for it to be this bad. Well, I don't think it can be this bad. For one, there's no humanity farm system in Demon Souls that gives you, like, infinite defense at low level. So that's out of the question. Second of all, there's nothing, like, comparably low level to this in Demon Souls. You cannot get invaded in the first area. You can't. No normal person playing the game can get invaded in Boletaria 1-1, because you're always in soul form. Yes, I'll probably be making a wizard, and the magic will be stronger. But I don't really intend to be using the magic in the way that makes it broken. Like, I'm not going to have Firestorm on me. And I'm probably not going to be using, like, the Crescent Falchion past, like, the build-making process. I mean, like, an S-Stock or something's probably fine. Coincidentally, this is probably a good way to practice the backstabs that I will be getting in Demon Souls, since they're frame 1 in there as well. Yes, I did at one point have the giant dad mask on, don't judge me. This was before I remembered that I had my witch hat available. And I mean, Pinwheel dropped it, so I was like, oh cool, I've never really worn this before, let's see if it makes this any better. And I didn't even really take full advantage of it, since I'm using the Claymore here, which only weighs 6 units, as opposed to, like, the Manserpent Hatchet, which weighs 10. So I could have worn even more armor, and made my defenses even more obscenely high. I'm not wearing the Ring of Steel protection. That would be even more overkill. I think I alternate between the flip ring and maybe the Hornet ring every now and again. Really whatever I was feeling like. Another thing to remember is that all of these invasions are on Nintendo Switch, which I bought because my friends also have Switches, so we could play it together, which we do, and also for the meme, because it's very funny to be playing Dark Souls on a Nintendo Switch. It's an extremely comical thing to be playing Dark Souls on a Nintendo console. But also, the people on here are definitely not nearly as hardcore as, like, the PC environment. Hell, even, like, the PS4 or Xbox ecosystem of Souls has to be more intense than this. I don't think I came across one, like, anti-Twink that was just laying in wait for me. And I was hoping to get a couple of them, because I assumed that at this low of a soul level, at 10, I would get a couple, but I didn't get any. The closest thing I got was that chick with the dust crown and the Ulasil catalyst. Everyone else was just kind of playing through the game. Did I predict that? Not really. I assumed that there would be a more casual environment, it being Switch, but I didn't know that for sure. Did I take advantage of it? Absolutely. Was it the nice thing to do? No. No, it wasn't. But you know what? Very much in the spirit of Dark Souls is being an unkillable monster that someone must die to. And you know what? If I was some person's first death experience in Dark Souls, then so be it. There's no glory in these invasions specifically. There's no skill, there's no nuance, there's no finesse. You just kind of throw an obscene amount of numbers at a player that could not possibly, in a million years, overcome these odds. And that's how it goes. It's bad design. It should not be allowed. It should not even be possible. But, I mean, for all it's worth, the remaster is considered pretty bad for a remaster. After a few of these, I probably should have dropped a whole bunch of these humanity. But the thought of sacrificing my immortality was simply unthinkable for whatever reason. Is this considered bullying? Probably. But hey, what are invaders anyway? But the bullies the game lets you be. Hopefully I'll see you in Demon Souls at some point. But until then, I'll be messing around in this broken old game. I'll be back.